It is update time. Brawl Talk just dropped. I've got all the juicy details, and normally I actually try and save my opinion on these updates until after the actual update drops. But I want to try something a little bit different in this video and share my initial gut reactions to everything after only watching Brawl Talk and not actually testing anything. So let me know if you like this format more or less than in the past when I have just tried to focus on just explaining everything coming out in the update. In this video, we're going to be covering all of the new Buffies in the claw machine. We're going over a brand new trophy system called Prestige that no longer resets your season trophies every season. You get to keep them. If you earn a trophy, it is yours until you lose a match and lose it. We have new skins. We have new hypercharges. We have new game modes. We have new ways to earn more resources and more trophies. But we are going to kick things off by talking about the 100th Brawler Sirius. That's right. Sirius is the 100th Brawler. He is the second ultra legendary brawler in the game, and he is the very first villain. He actually has some pretty crazy lore that I covered in a recent video, so you guys can check that out. But what I will say for now is that it sounds like he was the very first star in Star Park, and things got really stale for him. And once gems entered into the situation, everybody stopped paying attention to poor little Sirius, and he's now here to take control of the gems and use them for the first ever greatest show in Star Park or something like that. It's going to be really interesting. I love Star Park lore so much, and I'm sure all of you guys are excited to see what this first ever villain does in the game. Although I will say I'm pretty sure Griff was a villain before him. Anybody that steals their employees' tips is a villain in my opinion. For those of you guys didn't know, he literally throws coins at people, and those coins, yeah, they were stolen from Colette's and Edgar's tip jar. Anyway, let's talk about Sirius. His main attack fires 2 projectiles. It's super interesting because one is just in a straight line and the other one can actually be thrown through the air. So it looks like you can actually manually aim the distance of the throwing attack, and then the other projectile just automatically travels in the direction of the thrown projectile. So like, super interesting, lots of damage as a regular attacker, and half the damage if you want to attack as a thrower. Each projectile deals 1,200 damage, but sometimes it actually seems to deal a little bit more than that, so maybe there's some sort of star power in action or something. As he hits enemy brawlers with his attack, he not only charges his super, but he also collects brawler shadows. And from the footage, what it looks like is he actually takes the shadows of the brawlers that he is actually fighting against, which is really interesting. We'll have to see it. There's a lot of questions that I have about him. I'll share in a future video. But when Sirius uses his super, he summons the brawler shadows that he has collected and uses them to fight up to 3 shadows at a time. These shadows will attack enemies as they, fight generally the same way as the regular brawlers that they belong to. And like I said, it seems like it's going to be the shadows of the brawlers he's actually fighting, and it's really interesting. By default, the brawler shadows will just follow Sirius wherever he goes, but you can actually aim his super and direct the shadows to attack specific enemies or guard certain areas on the map. Holy cow. We didn't get any explanation for his gadgets or his star powers, but we were told that his hypercharge will summon stronger versions of the brawler shadows. What exactly that means, I'm not sure. And it looks like you actually may be able to get Sirius for free. I don't know if I'm seeing this right? It says that if you win with every brawler, you can unlock Sirius. So 99 wins for an ultra legendary brawler. Now, to some people that might sound really grindy, but I don't care. I think that's super cool that they could actually give people an opportunity to get every single brawler, and is also 100% worth it for Sirius if you ask me, because he's pretty hype. Now, we don't know how exactly this is going to work, especially if you don't have every brawler unlocked. Maybe this is an event only for people who have every brawler unlocked. Maybe it's some sort of an event where you have to start with the starter brawlers, and then you have to work your way all the way up to the ultra legendary brawlers, and you play a specific game mode. I don't know how it's going to work. It's going to be really interesting. So make sure you guys stay tuned for more information in the future. Okay, next we have a mythic brawler whose name is Najia. Or is it Najia? Or is it Najia? I don't know. Somebody can let me know in the comment section below. Najia is a mythic brawler who was hired by Finks to help create the puzzles inside the pyramid. However, Najia is a lot nicer than Finks. He's a jerk, right? And she actually spends most of her efforts trying to help those people who are trapped in the pyramid. Now, Najia holds only 1 ammo slot and fires a single projectile for her attack. This is very similar to how B's attack works, right? Quick reload, get to attack it out. But what makes it really interesting and so unique unique is it can essentially be fired twice, okay? Najia first fires a jar that pierces through enemies, and while that jar is moving through the air, she can use her attack again to fire a snake out from the jar. At least that's how I'm interpreting it from Brawl Talk, right? While the jar is in the air, it can be aimed at any direction, which means the attack can go easily around walls, since each projectile can be fired 2 entirely different directions. Now, the snakes don't pierce through brawlers like the jar does, but it does poison the brawler that it hits, in addition to dealing some pretty decent damage on impact. I don't think that we ever actually see what happens if you don't fire the snake from the jar in Brawl Talk, so I don't actually know if it just automatically fires at the end of the attack or if no snake is fired at all. My assumption is it automatically gets fired, but I don't know. Her attack seems really easy to use and really easy to get value out of and really difficult to avoid, which is going to be interesting. Now for Najia's super, she throws 3 separate jars in a fan shape that explode upon hitting the ground and dealing damage to all enemies inside the radius, as well as poisoning them. So each of the jars also contains a single snake that will then chase the nearest enemy and poison them on contact. Very similar to Eve's hatchlings, which is crazy. And what's really cool about this super is that it can actually be aimed using Najia's main attack. If Najia has her super charged, she can use her main attack to throw her jar, and then instead of aiming the main attack again to fire the snake, she can then aim her super instead and fire the super from the main attack. Holy cow. So that will give it way more range, make it much harder to avoid, and like, she just seems like a really strong, easy option. We'll have to see if that actually is the case after we get to play around with her a little bit. They didn't mention anything about her gadgets or star powers or her hypercharge, but we did see her hop into a snake jar herself, and that snake jar makes it look like she can tank some damage for her. Very similar to how Charlie's gadget works, except that it also looks like it bumps enemies away when it's broken. I'm excited for Najia. I think she seems pretty awesome, but I think it's fair for me to also say that I'm really excited for Sirius. Sirius seems really, really cool and interesting to try out. Okay, let's talk about new Buffies. And there's a lot of new abilities for us to cover here, so bear with me. We're gonna start off talking about Crow. Now, let's talk about his defense booster gadget. This used to be a strong shield. Now it's getting reworked to make it so that the remaining poison damage that would be applied to an enemy brawler over time instead gets dealt instantly to them, and then it converts that into a shield for Crow. Now, while buffied, this is actually going to refresh the poison damage. So I believe that this means that the poison damage will be reapplied so that they will take double the poison damage. And it actually doesn't matter when you activate it, they'll always take double the damage, whether they still have a lot of poison left or not very much poison left. So what it ends up being is you either get to choose between more instant damage and more shield if you activate it soon after hitting a target with poison, or a smaller shield but a longer drawn out poison damage if you activate it after you actually hit the target. Very interesting. I'm curious to try this one out. Now let's talk about slowing toxin. Now this used to make it so that all poison enemies would be slowed with a single tap of a button of the gadget, which in my opinion provided way too much value for how strong it is. It's actually been historically very difficult to balance because of it. So they're changing it, and I like this change. Now this gadget is going to be an aimable kunai knife that will slow, damage, and poison the first target that it hits. I like this rework because, like I said, potentially being able to just slow all enemies with the tap of a button is just too strong for how easy it is. Having to hit a target is a better trade-off, and it comes with the benefit of extra damage without requiring an ammo from Crow. So I really like that. Now, that's just base standard gadget. While buffied, the kunai is also going to bounce towards a second target, similar to Jessie's attack. It's going to apply the same effect to the second target that it hits as well. Very strong, very interesting. I'm excited to try this. Now we have extra toxic star power, which is staying the same. But while buffied, it's going to make it so the Crow will deal more damage for each enemy that is poisoned. His carrying Crow star power is also staying the same. And while buffied, his poison is going to last slightly longer, which could work really well with this new insta-poison buffied gadget, right? Now his hyper buffy makes it so that Crow's attacks pierce enemies and return to him while hypercharged. That looks incredibly strong right now. If you ask me, I think Crow's going to be a very tough contender for the top of the tier list. Okay, now let's talk about Bibi and her buffies. First up, we have Vitamin Booster, which actually is not changing. But while buffied, it's going to apply a lifesteal effect if you hit enemies while it's active. So in the Brawl Talk, they also said that it will also charge her home run bar while it's active. I didn't notice anything from the gameplay, so I'm gonna have to take a little bit more look into this later. My guess is that that was an effect, and then they actually changed it between when they filmed Brawl Talk and when it came out, or when they're, releasing this now. Her extra sticky star power or gadget is changing. It's getting a rework. Rather than applying a slow effect when her super actually hits brawlers, she can now throw out some gum to an area that will slow enemies caught by it. So no super is necessary to use it, and it is aimable. You can place it where you want. Now with a Buffy or a gadget Buffy, the slow effect will get stronger. On Brawl Talk, they said that the strength of it would be based off of how long the gum stays on the ground. It either means that the gum will stay on the ground as long as a brawler is trapped in it, or what they meant to say is that it will get stronger the longer that an enemy brawler is trapped inside the gum. And we actually saw it in the video. Frank was barely able to move near the end of it. It looks like a very strong slow. You've got to get out of that as fast as you possibly can. I'll look more into the details in a future update sneak peek. Now, let's talk about her home run star power. It is not changing. She still gets a speed boost whenever she has her home run bar all the way charged. But with a Buffy, in addition to the speed boost, Bibi's attack that breaks the home run effect will deal extra damage. It looked like an additional 10% extra damage, which doesn't feel game breaking to me, but may actually be worth using. Her batting stance star power is also not changing, but with a Buffy, she also gets the damage reduction shield when she hits an enemy brawler with her super. Pretty strong. Her hyper Buffy is gonna make her attack much faster while she's hypercharged, which seems like it could be insanely strong, especially when paired with her Vitamin Booster gadget Buffy that also gives her lifesteal. Wow, that like, a buffied out Bibi is looking a lot stronger in this next update. Okay, now Bull is in charge, and we're going to talk about his buffies. First up, we have the T-Bone Injector gadget. This gadget is changing. Instead of instantly healing Bull, he's now going to fire a projectile that has to hit an enemy in order for him to be healed. So this is a much less free buff or ability or heal, because if there's no enemy brawlers close to him, he may not actually be able to heal off of them. But that trade-off comes with a benefit of dealing damage to an opponent if it hits them as well. So with a Buffy, the projectile is also going to mark an enemy for 5 seconds, which will give Bull lifesteal on that enemy during that time, that 5 seconds. A super strong ability with Bull's kit, if you ask me, especially because he's likely going to be within auto aiming distance a lot of the time when you might want to use this. However, this does weaken him when he is further away from enemies and can't hit them with his gadget. So very interesting. His Stomper gadget is getting reworked. It is no longer going to make his next super stun enemies, which felt pretty broken in my opinion. Instead, he can now activate this whenever he wants to make a stomp around him. And when he does that, it's now not going to stun them, it's going to slow the enemies down instead. Interestingly though, if an enemy is already slowed from some sort of another brawler effect or something like that, then it will take that slow another level further and stun them, which could make for some really interesting combinations with other brawlers. If you do like a specific combo with a brawler that slows, he's also stunning them. It could be really interesting. Now, if Bull has a Buffy, this gadget will also give Bull a movement speed buff for a period of time after activating it. Potentially, maybe even just when he doesn't hit anybody. So that could be interesting. Now, Bull's Berserker star power is staying the same. He gets increased reload speed below 60% health, but with his star Buffy, Bull will instantly charge his super back if Bull's able to take an enemy brawler out when he is at that low health. His Tough Guy star power also is not changing, but with the Buffy, Bull becomes invulnerable to damage for a brief moment after he takes an enemy brawler down below 40% health, which could be very difficult to time and make very good. So this Buffy might not actually be great with this star power, but I'm okay with that because invulnerability is crazy strong in certain moments. Now, Bull's Hyper Buffy makes it so that Bull's attacks pierce enemies while he is hypercharged, but the enemies who are further away will take less damage. I actually think that that one is very reasonable, not crazy broken. In terms of how these Buffies, I think that Bull's not going to be like the crazy broken common brawler like the other Buffies that I've talked about here, but I think he's going to be a little bit more well-rounded, have some more specific pros and cons to using him, and still may end up being really strong because Buffies are just strong overall. Okay, now it's time for us to talk about Nita. First up, we have Nita's Bear Paws gadget, which stuns enemies if they get hit by it. It's not changing at all, but with a Buffy, Bruce is going to do 50% more damage for a limited amount of time after she activates this. In Brawl Talk, we only saw it happen with one attack, but perhaps it's more than just one attack if the target is closer to Bruce, so more testing is needed. Now, her Faux Fur gadget also isn't going to be changing, but while buffied, it's going to make both Nita and Bruce invulnerable to damage for a short period of time. Her Bear With Me star power is not changing, but she and Bruce will now be able to overheal each other with a Buffy, and that's going to be a decaying shield of temporary health, which is actually really strong. Now, her Hyper Bear star power is also not changing, but with a Buffy, it will increase her reload speed while she is summoning her bear. That'll be really excellent for those moments when she has to panic, drop a bear really, really quickly, and then spam her attacks if somebody like jumps on her or something like that. You know, because that would never happen in a game that's full of so many assassins. I'm just kidding. That's exactly the situation where Nita would want to do this. Now, her Hyper Buffy is going to make it so that her attack is going to be longer, faster, and wider while she is hypercharged. These Buffies are going to make Nita a lot stronger, I think. I'm actually really excited to play her with them. Okay, next we have Leon. These are going to be interesting. First is Leon's Clone Projector gadget, which is actually getting a pretty decent buff. It's going to make it so that his clone will deal damage to enemies if it is able to get within melee distance. It's not a whole lot of damage, but it is a little bit. And I actually like this considering the clone does take 2 times damage from all sources, so it's really easy to take out. It's just really obnoxious for some brawlers who used to be able to just ignore the thing and just, like, you know, whatever. But his Buffy is actually really cool, his gadget Buffy. It's going to make it so that you'll be able to tap the gadget button a second time to swap places with his clone. This makes this gadget actually really strong. It's very similar to one of Lola's and Nani's gadgets. I think it's really cool. It just like adds a lot of interesting aspects to it that I really like. Now, his Lollipop Drop gadget is now going to be able to be thrown. And with a Buffy, Leon and his allies will get a boosted movement speed while they are inside of it. This is on top of them being invisible, which actually makes this actually like much more useful than before. Just the fact that he is now able to throw it makes it a lot more interesting to me, because he doesn't, you know, you actually waste a lot of time and positioning on a map if you have to walk to a place behind a wall to place it just perfectly and then walk all the way back. Being able to throw it back behind you is that's a big deal. Now let's talk about Leon's Smoke Trails star power. It's staying exactly the same, but with a Buffy, his first attack will deal extra damage while he's invisible. I don't know if this is going to repeatedly stack if he attacks while hypercharged, because while he's hypercharged, he can repeatedly attack over and over and over again while still remaining visible or invisible. And if this star power works with that Buffy and his attack just does extra damage every single time, that's going to be broken, but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how that works. His Invisi-Heal star power with a Buffy is now going to make Leon's super last slightly longer, in addition to the healing that he normally gets with it. His Hyper Buffy, though, seems very strong. It makes it so that Leon's attacks while hypercharged will deal full damage no matter how close Leon is to them. I'm actually a little bit confused about this. In Brawl Talk, they said full damage, but in this clip, it's clearly not max damage. They actually did more damage previously being closer, so it might just be a percentage or something like that. Either way, this is very strong. Leon is going to be absolutely a top brawler with these Buffies, if you ask me. Okay, now let's talk about Bo. Bo's Super Totem gadget is now going to be able to be thrown. Again, that's just is so great because Bo doesn't have to give up positioning to put it behind walls. He can just throw it back there. It's really an excellent change for this Buffy. Now, while buffied, the totem range will increase. I really like this. It's not too strong. It's still effective. His Tripwire gadget is actually getting a slight buff. Very clearly here, this is non-buffied version. This is a little bit of a rework and addition. Rather than detonating the mines remotely, he will instead fire arrows to his mines, and that's going to be what makes them explode. If those arrows hit an enemy, it will knock that enemy back, which is likely to make that brawler get hit by the mines if they're anywhere close to them. So this could be really useful for getting an enemy into the mine even if they aren't within range of it. And while buffied, Activating this gadget is going to increase the range of the mines, which will make it even more likely to hit enemies. I like this because it gives the gadget value if an enemy is good at manually tripping the mine safely. At least that's what happens on the pro level. You get a little bit too close, Bo activates it, and then you know, oh, there are arrows coming over this way. I have to get even further away from these mines or I'm going to get hit by it. I like it. It's very well done in my opinion. Circling Eagle is actually staying the same. This is his star power. That makes it so that he can actually see further in the bushes. But while buffied, Bo will no longer become visible while attacking from the bush. This is really a cool ability if you ask me. It really fits Bo's kit as like a trap master, his theme, and is actually like, yeah, if you know, like if you're paying attention to where the arrows are coming from, you can still learn where Bo is, but it's not quite as clear and takes a little bit more skill. And I like that. I think that's really cool. Now his Snare Bear star power is also staying exactly the same. It's going to make it so the enemies that get hit by his mines will get stunned. But with a Buffy, Bo will place his mines even faster than before, which could allow you to actually use his super in a little bit more of a reactive situation and still hit enemies, right? Right now, if you actually throw his super, like auto super or auto aim his super onto enemies, a lot of times they're running away. And so they're actually likely to both trip the mine and also escape just fine. But with this Buffy, it's going to make that a little bit more difficult because they're thrown out quicker. We'll have to see in practice if it's actually as strong as I think it's going to be. Now his Hyper Buffy makes it so that Bo fires a 4th arrow with his attacks while he is hypercharged. And it also increases the explosion radius of all 4 arrows, so he's even more likely to hit targets. These Buffies are all really strong for Bo, and while I don't know if he's going to become the completely top brawler competitively, I absolutely think he's going to crush it everywhere else. Now, my gut reaction is that these Buffies are all very strong, and Buffies should be strong. What I don't want them to be is completely game-breakingly strong, right? And I actually think these are a little bit better tuned than the first set of Buffies. I think the devs did a really good job of applying a lot of our feedback, adding some of these reworks, making them a little bit, you know, they have more pros and cons than just like instantly being buffed, right? And I think these Buffies are overall better. I like them. Actually, some of them I just really like a lot. We'll have to see if they're going to be like completely busted and broken and, you know, but yeah, anyway, we'll have to wait and see. That's probably going to be what happens, and that's fine, whatever. Especially because with this second set of Buffies, we're getting some improvements to make Buffies a little bit easier to get. First of all, these Buffies are going to come in a new claw machine that is separate from the current claw machine that we already have. In this footage, you can see this claw machine, and then over onto the side, you can see the old claw machine. So you'll be able to scroll back and forth between the two, choose which one you want to pull from. And just like the first claw machine gave a free Buffy on the first pull, you actually get 1 pull for free on this new claw machine as well. So that's 2 free Buffies, you know, well, actually 1 for every claw machine in the future. We're also going to be getting a free Buffy in Mega Quests each month, and they're going to be adding a new coin PowerPoint rush event thing. We'll go over a little bit more details later on. Now, one thing that they did not cover in this Brawl Talk, which means that they have not added this into the game yet, but will hopefully do so in a future update, is some sort of wild card option to be able to actually choose specific Buffies, for them to be a little bit less random the way that you get them. They talked about this in their previous Time to Explain podcast, and I'm actually really like looking forward to it. It sounds like, once again, that won't come in this update, but it'll likely happen in the future. Now, I've already talked about my issues with how expensive Buffies are in the previous videos, and these improvements, they're good. I love these improvements. They're fantastic. They're not enough to like satisfy what I would like the developers to do, but I also understand the developer's point of view. I can get on board with these changes moving forward, even if I don't agree with their plan. And, you know, that's completely okay. And maybe you guys can't get on board. That's, you know, that's up for you to decide. But overall, these are some pretty good changes. I'm really happy that they're implementing them this update. I'm a big fan of free Buffies. I'm a big fan of more resources, and I really like these Buffies. I'm excited that they're adding them into the game. They're pretty solid. Okay, now let's talk about the brand new Prestige Trophy system. And I'm really excited for this. Okay, as we're going through all the gameplay footage and you can see this Prestige system in action, I don't know how you guys are going to react. I think that some people will be like, that's this is the big change that's coming, and you might not feel like it's a big deal. And I don't know if that's the case. Maybe you guys will feel the way that I feel and you're like really hyped about it. But I actually think that this is going to have a very big positive impact on the way that most people play Brawl Stars. I know it's going to have a big positive impact on the way I play Brawl Stars, and I'm really excited about that. And I think for most people watching this video is also going to be really excellent. But let's go over the details first. The first thing that is absolutely huge is that there are no longer going to be any trophy resets ever. Unless they backtrack, they change systems in the future in order to add some sort of resets. But it sounds like if you gain trophies with this new system, those trophies are yours for forever, unless you lose a match and lose them that way. That's cool. And additionally, they're adding matchmaking changes that I think will help make the game feel a little bit more fair. Let's explain the rewards before we get to that though. So between 0 and 1,000 trophies, you're going to get some free brawler cosmetics. At 250 trophies, every player is going to get a player icon and a spray. At 500 trophies for that brawler, you're going to get 3 pins for that brawler. At 750 trophies for a brawler, you're going to get a 29 gem skin for that brawler. So you can have a skin for every brawler in the game. Now, once you reach 1,000 trophies for a brawler, you are going to get that brawler's gold title. That's really cool. These are the same brawler titles that were originally released with masteries. And yes, I completely understand that does really devalue the value of these titles if you unlock them during masteries when they were actually really grindy and difficult to get. However, I think that this is a good compromise given the current situation that we are in. You know, the fact that they've removed masteries, that's a whole other topic of discussion. And we are getting something that's a little bit more of the equivalent of what masteries were like that for those of you who are willing to put in the time and you have the skill for a brawler. These rewards that I've talked about so far are being removed from records. They're no longer part of records, and records are going to be kind of another thing that the developer team is actually still not happy with. They want to do some changes with records and replace it with something that is better for everybody. That's not all of the changes coming here. Let me explain all the details. We're going to get more trophies per win. We saw 13 trophies for first place in showdown, or in solo showdown. So that's 30% more trophies. Win streaks are going up to plus 10 trophies if you win 10 matches in a row, which is awesome. So with the solo showdown match, you could win 23 trophies for a single win, which is huge. That's going to make pushing trophies much faster. So reaching 1,000 trophies is going to be easier and faster than it ever has been, and more rewarding than it ever has been for casual players. And I think that that's awesome. Genuinely, I do. Now, things change when you reach 1,000 trophies. Before this update, if you reach 1,000 trophies, you immediately were put into a matchmaking pool of super sweaty people who are only playing brawlers above 1,000 trophies. So you go from like people who are not playing this brawler a whole lot to all of a sudden you could potentially be matched up against the best player in the world. That's changing. They're changing the way matchmaking works. So it's going to be more skill based. And so going past 1,000 trophies is no longer going to be the massive roadblock that it used to be. And once you reach 1,000 trophies, you get a Prestige 1 icon. And no resets means that earning these prestige trophies beyond this 1,000 trophies is actually really huge. Now, the prestige trophies that you get above 1,000 trophies are also going to count towards the trophy road. 1,000 prestige trophies, like going from 1,000 trophies to 1,000 plus 1,000 trophies, that's 2,000 trophies, will get you to Prestige 2. And in Prestige 2, you can get a brawler rank change and a unique player icon. That's a way to flex, hey, I've worked really hard for this brawler. I think that's really awesome. Now, if you take that brawler again from 1,000 prestige trophies to 2,000 prestige trophies, so that's like 3,000 total trophies, right? That's a little confusing, but anyway, if then you reach Prestige 3, and Prestige 3 is going to be the equivalent of rank 35 that we used to have a long time ago. Rank 35 was this thing that it was really hard to get. It took a lot of skill. It took not a crazy amount of time if you were really, really good, but it was not easy to do. This is not going to be easy. Prestige 3 is not going to be easy. I probably won't ever get one. I don't know. We'll have to see. Maybe if I try and get really, really good with a specific brawler, I would be able to. I don't know. Maybe I'll do that. I don't know. It's not the point. It's going to be hard. But once you reach Prestige 3, you're no longer going to have a win streak bonus. You're no longer going to be have underdog matches for, stuff like that. And matchmaking is going to try to be as accurate as possible at placing you against other players who are just as skilled as you are. Prestige 3 is going to be for the best players with that brawler. Not easy. It's going to be for the best players. But Prestige 3 gives you a new title. not a gold title that you got for the brawler at 1,000 trophies, but a neon title that you get for 3,000 trophies or prestige 3. That neon title is like super cool. So this is a whole new set of titles. It's not like, you know, right now Griff's title is the greedy. We don't know. It's not going to be a neon the greedy title. It's going to be a whole new title, something brand new that we haven't seen yet. Personally, I hope that it is, you know, Griff's title is stole my tip because that's what Griff does. He steals tips, but we're going to move on. Reminder that this is a new permanent system with no resets. This is going to sound very grindy, like the idea of reaching 3,000 trophies with the brawler that you guys are hearing right now. You're hearing that for the first time. You're like, oh my gosh, that sounds crazy. But trophies are not going to reset at all. All progression is permanent. That means that you can progress a brawler to 3,000 trophies at the rate that you want to. You don't have to grind out before the season clock resets. You don't have to worry about that. You just play as you want to. You can take as long as you want. As long as you're skilled enough with that brawler, you can reach it. And that's really cool. Also, there's going to be this new prestige battle card once you prestige your first brawler, and an even cooler one if you prestige 25 brawlers, and an even cooler one if you prestige 50 brawlers. You can also see all the brawlers that you have that you've prestiged on your brawler profile, and other players will be able to see that as well. I think that looks really cool. I like that. And the previous prestige system that most people don't know about because it was really only for the very top players, that prestige profile or system is going to be moved to your legacy stat in your player profile. Now, I've talked about matchmaking. It's going to be a lot more based off of your own skill and not your trophies. I've interpreted this as the better you are, the harder your matches will be. And you may end up being matched up against players with more or less trophies than you. This is the one thing I don't know how I feel about. This is going to be completely dependent on how it feels. There are really good pros and cons to using a skill-based matchmaking over a trophy-based matchmaking, and it's just too early for me to really share an opinion on this. I like the idea of it, especially because I feel like a trophy season reset system for the game worked really well for Brawl Stars when there was less than 50 brawlers. Now we have so many brawlers in the game that yeah, I don't know. I think that this will be better, but we'll have to see. Now, because this current trophy system is changing and we used to get trophy boxes based off of trophies above 1,000 trophies, what they're going to do here is they're going to give everybody a free ultra legendary trophy, or sorry, a free ultra trophy box to everyone because the season is changing. And if you grind enough trophies this season to get an ultra trophy box, then you could actually get 2 of them, which is really hype. When this happens, any brawlers above 1,000 trophies will be reset for the last time. So everybody's going to be at 1,000 trophies for brawlers at above 1,000 trophies. That's going to be the highest anybody's going to be at. And then the trophy season boxes are going to be removed from the system and instead are going to be given during community events. Here's why I love these changes. First of all, I've stopped playing some of my favorite brawlers on my free-to-play account and have stopped playing them for a very long time because I reached 1,000 trophies. And you know, for a Brawl Stars player, I actually play pretty casually, right? I log in every single day and I play my dailies, but I don't really try and push super hard. I'm not looking for a challenge most of the time. Most days I just want to log in. I want to have fun collecting my daily rewards. So I don't want the extra stress of playing brawlers that are going to cause me to lose more matches and, you know, be more stressed about like keeping them at 1,000 trophies and stuff like that. If I want to be intense and sweaty, then I go and I play ranked, right? And truth be told, I still play like my favorite brawlers in ranked just because that's my place to play them. Also, there was the whole like progression being reset. So like if I push a brawler over 1,000 trophies and I just play them a little bit, like the trophies will get reset, and it feels like a waste of time for me. So at least it feels like a waste of time until every brawler is at 1,000 trophies. Then it makes sense. But that's not what I was able to do with the amount of time that I played. So this new system sounds a lot more fun. It feels like it's going to be more rewarding. We're going to have more freedom for which brawlers that we want to play and can play, especially that the new quest system actually allows for that. And for me personally, I'll be able to play at my own pace rather than racing against the trophy season clock to get some sort of trophy box or something like that. I also like that there's a super exclusive prestigious reward for the hardcore players who do want to go for Prestige 3 and get those neon titles for their brawlers. I thought that was really cool with Mastery, and I think it's really cool that people will be able to do that again in the future. Even if I'm not that player that's able to do it, getting a cool title for like my favorite brawler sounds like something I would want to do. Now, this comes with a really massive disclaimer that we're going to have to wait to see how these changes feel after the update, especially how the matchmaking feels because it's skill-based instead of trophy-based. But on paper, I really like them and I can't wait to try them out. So let me know what you think in the comment section below. This video is not done, by the way. I want to know that specifically. In fact, if you have specific thoughts about the trophy system, just put hashtag trophies on your comment. So it's really easy for me to see all of the comments regarding trophies. Okay, now let's talk about rush events. We're getting rush events in the game. These are very similar to Sugar Rush, which was a special thing that we had late last year, which I actually really liked. I thought it was really fun. It was part of a temporary game mode. But this time what's going to happen is you're going to be able to have a limited amount of time to get certain rewards, including chaos drops. There's a chaos drop rush. There's a coin rush. There's a PowerPoint rush. There's even a 2 times bonus trophies rush for 20 minutes where you just go and you push trophies really hard for those 20 minutes. That's really cool. And I'm really excited to do this. I think it adds a little bit of pressure. There were definitely some things weren't perfect with the rush event and how it worked in the past, but I appreciate it for what it was. And I kind of like this. It's going to make it feel a little bit like, hey, pressure's on right now. But I like that. I think it's good. It makes it more exciting. Okay, let's talk about skins. Starting off with the Sands of Time skins. We're going to show all of the skins here. Starting off with the Sandstalker Lily, which is the Brawl Pass skin set that also has Sandwalker Lily and Night Sands Lily. The Sultan Cordelius is going to be the alternative Brawl Pass skin set with 2 of the skin color variations. And I'm not going to list out each one of these. I'm just going to show it up in the background so that you can see all of these Sands of Time skins. They're so cool. They are so cool. Over the time, the skins that we've gotten have just been improved over and over and over again. And the value that we get for the new skins is just way better than the value that we got with old skins. It's just that I just want all of these. Now let's talk about the Dragons and Fairies skins, which is going to be the next season after March? Yeah. April. I know my months, I promise. So the 2 skins that are going to be the skin sets for the Brawl Pass are the Fairy Bonnie skin and the Dragon Griff, man. I need this on my free-to-play account. There's no way for me to get this on my free-to-play account. There's no way. And I want it so bad. But yeah, these skins are also so great. I freaking love Fairy Frank so much. I just want it. And then we also have the Dragon skin, or the Dragonkin Crow skin. Wow, that's hard to say. Dragonkin Crow skin is going to be the Pro Pass skin, starting out simple, then can be upgraded to be even more awesome. I don't have that much other than these skins are just so cool. I can't wait to show you all of their animations and their costs in a future update sneak peek video. Okay, now we have random skins, and this isn't just like a random assortment of skins. No, these skins are random. Starting off, we have the Royal Trunk skin. This is a Clash Royale log. Log was always one of my favorite cards in Clash Royale. You throw it, there's a choir in the background that goes, log, and it's just so funny. So I love that. There's Burt Glow, it's inverted. There's Inflatable Melody for April Fools. The one that I want to point out, and we got just so few frames of it, is Bruce Nita. Oh, so funny. It's a tiny Bruce, and you play as Bruce and a giant Nita. Oh, it's just so funny. They're hilarious. Okay, now we got some new events coming into the game, okay? We got Loaded Showdown. You're going to get power boxes. Instead of being power boxes, they're mystery boxes. Think of I thought immediately of Mario Kart, where you go and you pick up a mystery box and it gives you a weapon that you can use to do something, so, and that seems it literally seems like they are doing a nod to Mario Kart, especially because there is a bumper car that you can apparently drive. Come on. That must have been deliberate, right? There was a lot to unpack with it, but I think my favorite moment was the shuriken that you could throw at somebody. It's an instant kill, and then that person drops some sort of a healing item. I'm excited to test it out. Now, we also have new boss fights with special mechanics in dungeon maps. I love how they've done all of the recent PvE bosses recently. I love that so much. It's been so cool. It's kind of interesting because Brawl Stars, when they first came out with a PvE game mode forever ago, the first time, it was the hypest thing ever. Everybody was like, this is the coolest thing. And then it became incredibly stale because people learned how to abuse it. It got changed. It got stale. And The way that they've been doing PvE events has just been so awesome. And a lot of the new ones are actually a lot of fun. I'm really hyped for this. I actually like the Angelo one, even though it was very hard recently, but that's a whole other topic of discussion. We're also getting a couple new modifiers that are based off of brawlers. There's going to be this Finks effect, which stops projectiles for a certain period of time, so you can like move and dodge and stuff like that. That's going to be really interesting. I believe that these modifiers will be usable in friendly modes and for like map maker and stuff like that. We also have a moving sandstorms one, which is going to be just like Sandy's super. So invisibility for brawlers inside of it that you can actually move around, and I guess it works for both teams, which is cool. Treasure Hunt's getting some improvements. Samurai Smash is getting reskinned to an event around Sirius. I'm so excited about that. It's going to be a defeat Brawler Shadows in a team v team fight. So whoever defeats the most shadows wins. That's really interesting. We're also getting shield VFX improvements. So there's going to be white shield for respawning, as it always has been. Yellow shield is very clearly going to be for damage reduction, and purple is going to be for temporary health, which is great. Pierce and Globert are getting their hypercharges. Pierce's hypercharge, second wave, super strong. 2 waves of projectiles, with the second wave dealing 50% less damage, but they also pierce brawlers. And watching the footage, it looks like they also home in on brawlers. Insane. So strong. Globert's hypercharge is you need a friend. So this makes it so that fear will be applied regardless of where he's looking, and it affects everyone around him in a 360-degree area, which is just great. Fear targets are also going to take more damage from all sources. Super strong. Such a great hypercharge. Now, this was also announced in this Brawl Talk that this is Drew's last Brawl Talk. So Drew is still going to be a part of the Brawl Stars team, but he's going to be writing stuff for Brawl Stars full time. This is something that he's been doing actually for some time now. And yeah, I don't know how you guys feel about Drew. I freaking love the guy. I really do. I think that him coming to the Brawl Stars team was just awesome. And I genuinely mean that. He's a great guy. I think he did incredible work. And I'm really excited for him to go to writing for Brawl Stars full time, because I interpreted that as we're getting more lore, because we have somebody who's full-time actually working on it. That's just me making an assumption. Maybe that's not even what he's writing. Genuinely, I don't know. I don't want to like assume anything, but I like that. I think that's great. So that's, yeah, sad that we won't be seeing him in Brawl Talks anymore. Less sad for me, because I know that I'll still see him every now and then. That is everything that we learned from Brawl Talk. I want to share some overall thoughts right here before we end this video. I actually think this update is really great for the game. I think that it's going to make trophy pushing a lot more fun, a lot more satisfying. I think it's going to be more rewarding, more meaningful for casual and new players. I actually think it's going to further increase how quickly new players can actually get progression, because they're getting trophies even faster, which is pretty cool. I love that we're going to be having a super prestigious goal for hardcore players with the Neon titles at Prestige 3. It may seem like a super grindy system. I totally understand it if that's what your opinion of this is, but the fact that trophies are no longer going to reset at all is so hype for me. Like I said, resetting trophies made sense when the game had less than 50 brawlers. But now that we have more than 100 brawlers, I'm gonna like this new system a lot more, I think. We're getting 2 new brawlers that look awesome. They look like so different than any other brawlers that we've had in the game. Yeah, they're just different new mechanics. The skins look amazing, and we have some new awesome content in the game. I think that this update is a big W, but who knows? After I try it, maybe I'll hate it. And that's really important to recognize here, is that I have not played it. I have not tried it. I'll share more thoughts in a future video if things change for you guys, or for me, once I've actually played them, or if you guys want me to give it some more thoughts after review and experiencing the changes, especially with the prestige system and especially with the matchmaking system. That's the one thing that I'm not sure about, especially if you are a long-term player who just unlocked a brand new brawler and you want to play that brawler, but you don't have the resources to upgrade that brawler. Are you going to be immediately ranked up against other players who are just as skilled as you, but who are playing max out brawlers? If that's the case, I'm going to really hate that, because it just does not feel that great if you are more than 2 levels below the enemy players. It's really not fun, in my opinion. But let me know what you think. I don't know if that's how it's going to work. It might feel great. So subscribe for future update sneak peek videos, and don't forget to use code Kairos in the Brawl Stars shop. Kairos, code Kairos in the Brawl Stars shop. Yeah.